Yes, Guruji.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
We are reading from the book Beyond Birth and Death by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter number 2, page number 20. All of you are able to see the screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
It is of utmost importance, therefore, that we know the nature of our constitutional position. We want eternity, complete knowledge, and pleasure also. When we are left alone for a long time, when we are left alone for a long time, we cannot have pleasure. We accept the pleasure given by the material world. In Krishna consciousness, real pleasure is enjoyed. In the material world, it is generally accepted that the highest pleasure is sex. This is a perverted reflection of the sex pleasure in the spiritual world, the pleasure of association with Krishna. But we should not think that pleasure there is like the sex pleasure in the material world. No, it is different. But unless sex life is there in the spiritual world, it cannot be reflected here. Here it is simply a perverted reflection, but the actual life is there in Krishna, who is full of all pleasure. Therefore, the best process is to train ourselves now so that at the time of death, we may transfer ourselves to the spiritual universe, to Krishna Loka, and there associate with Krishna. In Brahma Samhita, Sri Krishna and his abode are described thus. So it is of utmost importance that we understand our real nature, our constitutional position, our eternal position, that who are we? Who am I? Without that, spiritual life has no value. If I don't know who am I, what is my eternal position, what is my constitutional position, then there is no use of doing any other activities, right? Because without proper knowledge, whenever you do anything, it will not be fruitful, right? So when we are in proper knowledge, we will do the activities which are supposed to be done on the basis of that knowledge. We will do it very nicely. If that knowledge itself is missing, then those activities will be of less heart, right? Will not put all our heart. So that is why we see outside world, the teacher, the parents, they try to teach their children to go to temple regularly, pray to God, but children, they are not ready to do that. Why? Because of the missing knowledge, not missing knowledge of the self, or knowledge of our eternal position. Because this is missing, parents are not able to make their children understand why they should go to temple, why they should pray to God. They're not able to make them understand. They fail at this point. And that's how the children who are under the influence of the Western education system, which teaches them only to become a hard-working ass and nothing else, they cannot understand this aspect of their life. And they don't want to go to any other person and understand. Hardly you will find any children or any youngsters who are so humble to go to someone who know about it and get the knowledge from them. There is lot of youth in Bangalore, but we see only few hundreds coming to temple, right? And among those few hundred, few tens who will come to inquire about these topics. So this topic is very, very important to understand our nature. We want eternity, complete knowledge, and pleasure also, right? We want, what is this? Eternity, complete knowledge, and pleasure. This is what is in Sanskrit called as Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Right? We have heard the name Satchidananda, right? This Satchidananda name has come from three different names. It's a combination of three different names: Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat means eternity, Chit means complete knowledge, and Ananda means pleasure or spiritual. When we are left alone for a long time, we cannot have pleasure, right? So even for this also, there were a lot of experiments made. One person was for to do an experiment. He was kept in a room alone without interaction face to face or over call, or no way he can interact with any other living entity outside that room. So he was kept inside the room for a month, and he was supplied everything for eating, sleeping, and everything. So he was good for few days. Sometimes even you would have experienced when we are fed up with so many relatives and every day taking care of the family, or so many friends, or when you go to workplace there are also so many people. When you get up fed up with so many people, you sometimes think of, I want to get rid of all these things and I want to go somewhere alone. So here is an experiment done. A person was kept in a room, and first few days nothing was all right, but as the days passed by, person could not keep himself happy. Initially he was happy because for a momentary time he was out of the crowd. Okay, just because of the change of the situation he felt some happiness, but as the days passed, he towards the end of the month he was almost mad, without having to without getting to have association of any other human or any other entity. So humans, their nature is to enjoy in company of others. So when we are left alone for a long time, we cannot have pleasure. We accept the pleasure given by the material world. In Krishna consciousness, real pleasure is enjoyed. In Krishna consciousness, real pleasure is enjoyed. In the material world, the highest pleasure is calculated as the sex pleasure. But even this sex pleasure, which is considered as highest in the material world, is nothing but the reflection of the pleasure in the spiritual world. It's the perverted reflection. Urdhva Mula, in 15th chapter, Krishna says, Urdhva Mula Adha Shakham. There is a tree whose roots are on the top and the branches are down. Where do we see such trees? In the purport of that, Srila Prabhupada explains, when you go to on the bank of the river, if you go on the other side of the river, if you have a big large tree, you see the reflection of the tree in the water, in the river, and in the reflection you see that the branches are down and the roots are on top, in the image, in the reflection of the tree. So similar is the comparison given about material world and the spiritual world. Spiritual world is the real tree and the reflection of that is the material world. So this is the perverted reflection of the sex pleasure in the spiritual world, right? So it's not that the pleasure of association with Krishna, but we should not think that pleasure there is like the sex pleasure in the material world. In the material world, the sex pleasure is abominable. it degrades a person, right? So we should not think in the spiritual world also the sex pleasure is same as like in the material world. No, but we should not think that okay, it is different. But unless sex life is there in the spiritual world, it cannot be reflected here. Here it is a simply perverted reflection, but the actual life is there in Krishna, who is full of all pleasure. Therefore, the best process is to train ourselves now, so that at the time of death we may transfer ourselves to the spiritual union. When we understand that the real pleasure is in association with Supreme Lord Krishna in the spiritual world, we should understand that somehow we should get rid of this material world after quitting this body and go to the spiritual world. So for that, we have to do some preparation. And that preparation is given by Srila Prabhupada in his organization called as ISKCON, right? All the activities from morning 4 o'clock till night 9 o'clock, all these activities are meant to prepare us to go back to the spiritual world at the end of this life. And about spiritual world, Srila Prabhupada says, he refers to Brahma Samhita. In the Brahma Samhita, Krishna's abode is described like this. Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha lakshavriteshu surabhirabhipalayantam lakshmi sahasrashata sambrahma sevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha. Every atom, every kana, the spiritual world is Chintamani. Every stone is Chintamani. Kalpa Vriksha, every tree is a Kalpa Vriksha. Kalpa Vriksha is a desire tree. Whatever you ask the tree will provide. Mango tree in the material world provides only mango. But in the spiritual world, mango tree provides samosa also. Mango tree can provide you a chocolate also. Mango tree can provide you a barfi also. It can provide you rice sambar also. So in the spiritual world, Kalpa Vriksha is desire tree which fulfills all the desire. And Chintamani, the stones, anything you bring in contact with that Chintamani, it becomes purified and it becomes gold. Laksha Vriteshu Surabhir Abhipalayantam. And what Krishna is doing there? He is tending the cows. Surabhir Abhipalayantam. Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrahma Sevyamanam. And what Lakshmis are doing? Thousands of Lakshmis are serving the lotus feet of Krishna in the spiritual world. Such a Govindam, who is Adi Purusha, original primeval Lord. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship such Govinda. There is a description of Krishna Loka. The houses are made of what is called touchstone, Chintamani. Whatever touchstone touches immediately turns into gold. The trees are wish-fulfilling trees or desire trees for one who can receive from them whatever he wishes. In the material world, we get mangoes from mango trees and apples from apple trees. But there, from any tree, one can get whatever he desires. Similarly, the cows are called Surabhi and they yield endless supply of milk. These are descriptions of spiritual planets found in Vedic scriptures. In the material world, we have become acclimatized to birth, death, and all sorts of suffering. Material scientists have discovered many facilities for sense enjoyment and destruction, but they have discovered no solution to the problems of old age, disease, and death. They cannot make any machine that will check old age, disease, or death. We can manufacture something that will accelerate death, but nothing that will stop death. What about it? They cannot make any machine that will check death, old age, or disease. We cannot manufacture something that will accelerate death, but nothing will stop death. Those who are intelligent, however, are not concerned with fourfold miseries of material life, but with elevation to the spiritual planets. Those who are intelligent, however, are not concerned with the fourfold miseries of life: birth, death, old age, disease. These are the fourfold miseries, right? So they are not concerned with this. Those who are really intelligent, they want to put a permanent end to these fourfold miseries. They don't want to end these miseries for temporarily and again take birth again. Just like when Prabhupada in Massachusetts University of Technology, MIT, Srila Prabhupada was addressing young students, and he was explaining about how that life, the next life, depends on what we do, what work we do, how we do in this material, in this life, right? So if you act like a dog in this life, you will become a dog in the next life. So towards the end of the session, one boy asked, "What's wrong if I become a dog?" Because according to him, dog's life is again a good life, right? So Srila Prabhupada says, "Tathastu, become a dog." Because to such people who have no intelligence, that the life of a dog is so, or life of for that matter, life of any other living entity other than human is lower life. They have no intelligence to make spiritual progress, to end the suffering. They have no spiritual intelligence, but humans are given higher intelligence to inquire about how I can put an end to my suffering. So intelligent people, they will not bother about whether I will take birth again, or I will grow old, or I will suffer disease. They are always thinking about how I can solve these four problems permanently. Enter the spiritual planets. One who is continuously in trance, nitya yuktasya yoginaha, does not divert his attention to anything else. He is always situated in trance. His mind His mind is always filled with the thought of Krishna without deviation. Ananya chetaha satatam. Satatam refers to anywhere and anytime. In India, I lived in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada is telling. And now I am in America, but this does not mean that I am out of Vrindavan, because if I think of Krishna always, then I am always in Vrindavan, regardless of material designation. Krishna consciousness means that one always lives with Krishna on that spiritual planet, Goloka Vrindavana, and that one is simply waiting to give up his material body. Smarati Nityashaha means continuously remembering, and for one who is continuously remembering Krishna, the Lord becomes Sasyaham Sulabha Parthaha. Lord becomes easily purchased. Krishna himself says that he is easily purchased by this bhakti yoga process. Then why should we take to any other process? We can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, 24 hours daily. Prabhupada is telling 24 hours daily. So in my previous session, just before this session, I was telling about how it was about the personal cleanliness, sleep, and about temple etiquettes. So about sleep, I was giving the example of our great acharyas, like the Shad Goswamis, right? Rup Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, Gopala Bhatta Goswami. All these great acharyas, Goswamis. Goswami means one who has complete control over one's senses. He is Goswami. Srila Haridas Thakur, they would all sleep only for 1.5 to 2 hours max, not more than that. Most of the time was spent in chanting and preaching Krishna consciousness, right? And sometimes if there is more engagement, they would not sleep even that 1.5 to 2 hours. It's postponed to the next day. Next day also again there is some more preaching work. Next day also they are not. So like that, continuously for several days they would not sleep at all. 24 hours they are chanting Krishna's name and preaching Krishna. That is what Srila Prabhupada says here. One can go on chanting 24 hours daily. There are no rules and regulations. One can chant in the street, in the subway, or at his home or office. There is no tax and no expense. So why not stick to it? So here we end the second chapter. We'll move on to the third chapter, liberation from material planets. The jnanis and yogis are generally impersonalists. And although they attain the temporary form of liberation by merging into the impersonal effulgence, the spiritual sky, their knowledge, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, is not considered pure. By penance, austerities, and meditations, they can rise up to the supreme absolute platform, but as has been explained, they again fall down to the material world because they have not taken Krishna's personal features seriously. Unless one worships the lotus feet of Krishna, he again has to descend to the material platform. Right? So the jnanis, the yogis, by lot of austerities, penances, and penances and tapasya meditations, they can rise up to the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth. But they cannot remain there permanently. They have to come down if they don't take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. The ideal attitude should be, I am your eternal servitor. Please let me somehow engage in your service. Krishna is called Ajitaha, unconquerable, and for no one can conquer God. But according to Srimad Bhagavatam, one with this attitude easily conquers the Supreme. Srimad Bhagavatam also recommends that we give up this futile process of material measure, futile process to measure the Supreme. We cannot even measure the limitations of space. What to speak of the Supreme? It is not possible to measure the length and breadth of Krishna by one's minuscule knowledge. And one who arrives at this conclusion is considered intelligent by Vedic literature. One should, it is said, one who is in true knowledge, he becomes more humble, he becomes more down to earth, right? One should come to understand submissively that he is a very insignificant segment of the universe, abandoning the endeavor to understand the supreme by limited knowledge or mental speculation. He should become submissive and hear of the supreme through the authoritative sources such as Bhagavad Gita or through the lips of a realized soul. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is hearing about God from the lips of Sri Krishna himself. In this way, Arjuna set the criterion for understanding the Supreme by submissive hearing. It is our position to hear Bhagavad Gita from the lips of Arjuna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. After hearing, it is necessary to practice this acquired knowledge in daily life. It's not that there are many people who by heart different shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. There are some who have by hearted even all the 700 shlokas. But when it comes to application of these shlokas, they fail, right? They worship the Lord, and inside the altar they go, they worship the Lord. Outside they come, they will wear normal clothes, pant, shirt, and then they will go and smoke. I've personally seen there are such examples. So what is the use of such practice, right? They say they have read Bhagavad Gita, they are reading Bhagavad Gita, they may quote the verses from Bhagavad Gita also, but unless it comes into practice, one cannot advance or one cannot see the hand of Krishna in one's life, right? So, after hearing, it is necessary to practice this acquired knowledge in daily life. My dear Lord, you are unconquerable, devotee prays, but by this process, by hearing, you are conquered. God is unconquerable. Nobody can conquer God, but he is conquered by his devotee who abandons mental speculation and listens to authoritative sources. According to Brahma Samhita, there are two ways of acquiring knowledge: the ascending process and the descending process. By the descending process, one is elevated by knowledge acquired by himself, by ascending process, sorry. In this way, one thinks, I don't care for any authorities or books. I will attain knowledge myself by meditation, philosophy, etc. In this way, I will understand God. There are many people with this concept in their head, right? Some people think whatever comes in their mind, if their mind says, they use a word called as conscience, right? If my conscience says that I should not do this, I will not do this. That means it's wrong. And if my conscience says that you do this, then I will go ahead and do that. There was one writing on the t-shirt of a person. It was written like you see, right? On the back of the t-shirt, in front of the t-shirt, they write some quotes or some lines. Right? One quote, it was written, if you like, do it. Right? Looks amazing, right? Very wonderful, encouraging statement, motivational statement. If you like, do it. But this is the philosophy of dogs. This is the philosophy of animals. Any animal, any food is lying somewhere. If they like, they go and put their mouth. They don't think. But as a human, we are given higher intelligence to think whether that something which I am desiring to enjoy, whether that belongs to me, whether I deserve it, right? That is not there. Then if that intelligence is not there, then my life is as good as that of animal, right? So if you like, do it is not human philosophy. This is animals philosophy. And this is what is actually the ascending process. This is the ascending process. If I like, I will do it, and by my strength, by my intelligence, I will understand everything. There is no God, there is nobody in control, I am the controller, right? All these things are there. By ascending process, one is elevated by knowledge acquired by himself. In this way, one thinks, I don't care for any authorities or books. I will attain knowledge by myself, by meditation, philosophy, etc. In this way, I will understand God. The other process, the descending process, involves receiving knowledge from higher authorities. Receiving knowledge from higher authorities. Brahma Samhita states that if one takes to the ascending process and travels at the speed of the mind and wind for millions of years, he will still end up not knowing. For him, the subject matter will remain elusive and inconceivable. But that subject matter is given in Bhagavad Gita. Ananya Chetaha. Krishna says to meditate on him without deviation from the path of devotional service in submission. For one who worships him in this way, Tasyaham Sulabhaha, I become very easily available. This is the process. If one works for Krishna 24 hours a day, Krishna cannot forget him. By becoming submissive, he can attract the attention of God. As Guru Maharaj Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati used to say, Don't try to see God. He is God to come and stand before us like a servant just because we want to see him. This is another problem with the people of the modern world. Right? If there is God, why I am not able to see him? Why he is not seen? So God is not your order carrier. God is not your servant. In fact, God is the master of everything and everyone. Right? And you want him to be seen by you just because you desire to see him? That too out of the challenging attitude? Not possible, sir. That is not the submissive way. We have to oblige him by our love and service. So that is not the way. Challenging is not the way to see God, but we have to oblige him by our love and service. The proper process for approaching Krishna was given to humanity by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Rupa Goswami, his first disciple, appreciated it. Rupa Goswami was a minister in the Mohammedan government, but he left the government service to become a disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he first went to see the Lord, Rupa Goswami approached him with the following verse: Namo Mahavadanyaya, the prayer of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which we offer in when we go in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and offer obeisance. This prayer was first prayed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, first offered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by Rupa Goswami. Namo Mahavadanyaya, O most munificent personality, O most merciful personality, Mahavadanyaya, Krishna Prema Pradayate, you are freely distributing Krishna Prema. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya, you are Krishna himself, having the name Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Your bodily complexion is that of molten gold. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who is more magnanimous than any other avatara, even Krishna himself, because he is bestowing freely what no one else has ever given, your love of Krishna. Rupa Goswami called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the most munificent, the most charitable personality, because he was offering the most precious thing of all very cheaply, the love of God. We all want Krishna and are all hankering after him. Krishna is the most attractive, most beautiful, the most opulent, the most powerful, and the most learned. That is the object of our hankering. We are hankering after the beautiful, the powerful, the learned, the wealthy. Krishna is the reservoir of all of this. So we need only turn our attention toward him and we will get everything, whatever we want. Whatever is our heart's desire will be fulfilled by this process of Krishna consciousness. For one who dies in Krishna consciousness, as stated before, entrance into Krishna Loka, the supreme abode where Krishna resides, is guaranteed. At this point, one may ask, what the advantage, what is the advantage is, what the advantage is in going to that planet? And Krishna answers himself, Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti punarjanma नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः संसिद्धिं परमां गताः माम उपेत्य पुनर्जन्म न आपनुवन्ति. One who attains me, mam upetya punarjanma napnuvanti, he will not take again birth in this material world. And the material world, the qualities are dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This material world is full of miseries and it is temporary. Mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. Those great souls who take my shelter and they attain me, they will samsiddhim paramam gataha. They will attain the supreme goal of life, going back to the supreme abode of Lord Krishna. Once they go there, they never come back. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. So here we end today's reading. We will continue with third chapter from the same page in our next session. Thank you all for joining. Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji,
Thank you,
thank
Prabhu.
you.
Hare
Jai Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.